So if we could start with your full name.
Lawrence V. Vera.
Okay. And where and when were you born?
When? For 1917. And I was born in Riverside,
Okay.
California,
And what month and what day?
August the 8th,
Great. So how old are you currently?
99.
And which branch of the armed services were you a part of?
I was with the infantry, and then I went to the cavalry.
Okay.
And I spent the rest of the war in the cavalry.
And which units were you attached to?
41st Division,
And what rank did you attain?
First Sergeant,
Okay. And were you awarded any medals?
Bronze Star,
Okay. And what were you awarded the Bronze Star for?
above and beyond call of duty.
So let's talk a little bit about your family life growing up. Did you have any siblings?
Yes, there was 4 of us or 5 of us, I can't remember. And I have 2 of them are still with me.
Yeah.
You know,
Are they younger or older than you?
I was the second from the top. It was my older sister. She passed away, and then I came next, and the other were below me. 2 of them are still alive. You know,
Tell me about your parents. What were their names?
well, her name is Eleanor, and my father's name, I think, was Manuel. I don't remember. I think he was in World War One.
Okay.
I know my mother cut down a uniform from a World War One outfits, so I figured he was in World War One. She got the uniform from that she had. So
Do you remember what he did for work?
what I did for work,
What your father did for a living?
he was a shoe manufacturer. You know, he started in the shoemaking business and went on. He had 2 plants, one in Compton and one in Los Angeles, where they made shoes, women's shoes.
Did he maintain that job throughout the Great Depression?
No, he when World War II come along, they were using all the leather for soldiers' boots and all of that, so he didn't. He had to shut down both plants because he couldn't get the leather.
But before the war had started, during the Great Depression, was he still in business during that time?
He was,
Yeah.
you know.
Do you remember growing up during the Great Depression?
More or less.
Yeah.
There wasn't, I guess everybody, it wasn't just me, the whole country.
Yeah.
Real.
Do you remember some of the sacrifices you had to make back then?
Well, you know, you weren't very old, and a lot of the things that you couldn't wear your shoes all the time. You had to save them for school or things like that.
So did you play barefoot?
uh,
You'd play barefoot?
Oh, yeah. Everybody, all the kids. You know,
You remember some of the games you used to play for fun?
just one we had kick the can or something like that. I can't remember. Hide and seek and games. Well, you didn't have toy stores, or you didn't have any of that. So,
Now, did you start working at a young age? Did you have any jobs early on?
oh, no, I usually helped out around the house, and sometimes I helped my dad, you know. But outside of that, I didn't do much. I usually playing baseball.
Were you a big fan of baseball growing up? Were you a big fan of baseball growing up?
No, I was softball.
Softball.
I like softball. It's fast. I tried when I was in high school. I tried baseball, but I was playing right field, and all I did was stand out there. Pitcher take his time pitching the ball, and I didn't like that. There was no hardly any action going on.
Yeah.
Softball was a fast moving game, so I liked softball.
And did you play in high school, or did you play just for fun?
I played in high school, 4 years.
And which high school did you go to?
I went to Linwood High, 2 years, and then Compton for the 2 other years. I graduated from the Compton. Well, it was called Compton Junior College because there was 2 years of college and 2 years of high school. But we used to call it, when nobody asked, oh, we go to junior college. You know, yeah, we were going to high school, but well, we were telling the truth. I was junior college.
And do you remember some of your buddies growing up during school?
Well, I had quite a few, but all I remember is their first name. One was Alan when I was in junior high. And at that time, they were divided. The junior high was separate from the high school. In high school, I had Alan, but I don't remember his first name either. I had other friends, but these were my regulars. Yeah.
Now, did they serve in the war as well?
I really don't remember.
No.
After we got out of high school, we kind of separated. And
So after you graduated high school, did you go to college following that?
no,
What did you do after you graduated high school?
I worked in the body and fender, and then I didn't stay long because I hired in General Motors. I went to work for General Motors, and 37. I graduated in 36, and I think it was 37 or 36 I started working for General Motors. Anyway, I worked for General Motors for 44 years. And I retired from General Motors. Yeah.
So you worked with them up until you went into service?
Yeah, and I think it was 1940 when they passed the law. All unmarried men up to 40 years of age that have no family had to register for the Army. So I went and I registered for the Army, and they called me, and it was right after, either it was 1940 or 41.
So were you inducted before Pearl Harbor had occurred?
Yeah, I was 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
I think I was in September that I was...
September of 41?
No, I was in September. And in September, I think I was called up. And I went in the service before World War II. And I think I had a month and a half before it was either in late September or October that they called me, and I had to register. And I went to Camp Roberts to train. War broke out while I was training in Camp Roberts. So I didn't finish my training, but I was made a soldier.
Do you remember that day when Pearl Harbor was attacked? Do you remember where you were and what you were doing?
Yeah, I was over in Redondo Beach at a wedding reception. Yeah, when I heard it was, well, the news didn't come on till about, maybe, I heard it about 1 o'clock that the Japanese had bombed Pearl Harbor and all soldiers go back to camp. So I had to go back. I had to go back to camp. I had the weekend off. I used to drive from Camp Roberts to where I lived in Compton. And I had 4 other guys that paid me to drive them to LA for the gas.
So what was your thoughts at that point when you'd found out that the U.S. had been attacked? And
well, we didn't know what we were. Everybody's saying we're going to Alaska. You know, they figured the Japanese were already in China. And they figured they'd come across and invade Alaska. So they put us on the beach in placements along the Washington coast. From a Southern California boy to a cold like that, I mean, you figure you almost wanted to shoot yourself. It got so cold. And it rained all the time, trees all over, and on the beach. Oh God, there's the roots of trees that I guess that they knocked down and chopped the trees because there was the roots, and the roots were almost as high as the ceiling and round. Those trees must have been millions of years old, and they used to cut them, for lumber and that. But the beach was littered with those, where they tow them out to the sea, and then the sea would, in a few days or a week or maybe months, they'd wash back on the coast.
So how much time did you spend up in Washington on the coast there?
Oh, let's see. Maybe about 2 months, the most. Yeah.
Were you guys? Did you guys continue training there, or were you guys there?
No, we
defense?
were regular soldiers. We didn't need training. They put us out on the beach, and we had an emplacement with logs, logs across the top, and a place to look out. We were guarding the coast there.
It was pretty uneventful during those 2 months.
No, he just sat there, and I think you had to put in 4 hours, and then another bunch would take over, and you'd come back again. Oh, it was cold.
So after you left Washington, where did you go? Where did they send you?
They sent us to San Francisco. We got on the boat and we went. I think we traveled north because we boarded. No, wait a minute. I can't remember that part. I think we went north because in the evening it was still daylight. We went north and then we turned east. We came back to San Francisco. Yeah, I think there was just to fool the enemy. They thought we were going to Alaska or up there. I think that was the reason that we went north. And then we turned around and came back to Frisco. And we boarded the ship there and we went to Australia, Melbourne.
You know about how long that journey took to go from San Francisco?
Oh, golly, seemed like it took for days. Seasick, man. Everybody. They said going out of Frisco, going out of San Francisco, we were going out of San Francisco, and that was when we were going to Australia. We got out of San Francisco, and they had artillery tied on deck on the ship. Well, it was really a cargo ship. It wasn't we didn't have very many, we didn't have much of a navy. And it was a cargo ship, and they had the field artillery guns tied down with chains and all that to hold them, but they could work. And they had gunners up there. And I was on a 50 caliber machine gun that was tied down, but everything was made at a first pace, so you had to use the things as they were, not things made for that. And
you had to improvise a bit.
Yeah. And the 50 caliber I was on, it was tied down, but you had to lay flat to fire it. And I was there and I got sick. And I said, the heck with this noise, and I left it. I looked around, and everybody else was already gone. They tell me even the ship's captain was seasick going out of Frisco, because we were going up and down, up and down. Oh, the tide was coming in.
Do you remember how you felt when you were leaving U.S. soil to go and fight? Do you remember what thoughts were going through your head?
I don't think we thought much of that. I think more or less you get something comes out of you, more like a fighting spirit or something, and you kind of think, oh, I'm going to go fight, or something like that. It's just a feeling people get, or men, they usually get that feeling. And but that was a miserable trip. God.
So you were about 24 years old at the time?
Yeah, I think so. I may have, because I could have been 23, 24, I'm not sure.
And were you told where you would be sent after you landed in Australia, or was that all that you knew at that point? You were headed to Australia, and then you would await orders from there?
Oh, yeah, and they never, when you're just a soldier, you never hear nothing, everything is scuttlebutt, Everybody's, oh, we're going to Alaska, we're going down. Well, now we're going down to Mexico, we're going down to Chile, things like that.
Did you make any close friends at that point? Did you have any buddies that you hang out
Well,
with?
yeah, we had some, everybody was friends at that time, that were in your squad. And we went out. Well, that was a bad trip. I spent in my bunk, and I laid there, golly, 3 days before I went down and had something to eat. Before that, I didn't have. I went down there. the, yeah, I think they had an evening meal, and it was still daylight. And we went down. I went down because everybody took turns, and there was probably 300 or 400, 3,000 or so soldiers on that, and you had to, they had to feed certain times, and it was a mess. It was a mess going down the hallway. Oh, God, make you sick. All these guys eating, and then they come on board, and they all puke down the runway, oh, I'm telling you, I don't think I ate for about 3 days. The only thing they'd give you an orange one time, and then they'd get an apple. For one meal you'd get an apple, and then you get an orange later. And that was it. So that's for 2 or 3 days I didn't eat. It could have been a week. I didn't eat anything.
So were you happy to finally make it to Australia?
Oh yeah, I was glad to get off the ship.
Now, how much time did you spend in Australia? What were you guys doing after you landed?
Well, we landed and we went to a camp, Seymour, I think. And I was about, I don't know, could have been 60 to 70 miles, or maybe 1,000 miles up the coast. And they put us on a train and they shipped us up that way. All the equipment and everything went with us. And there one time we stopped, and because most of the time the windows had been blacked out, and somewhere or another I could see out, and I was either close to the engine or close to the caboose, because there were 2 of the railroad men down on the track was up about 4 or 5 feet higher than the gully, and they were down there with what they used to call their billy cans. They were cooking their meal or whatever it is, or their tea, I think it was. Well, their tea is really a meal. And they're down there. You stop the train to either that. Guy says, they stopped the train to have their tea. I thought, they must have stopped the train to let another train come in the other way. But never did find out what really happened, where they really stopped the train. But here we had tanks and guns, ammunition, and all that stuff on the train we were on, taking it up north.
Do you know where you guys ended up once the train stopped?
Well, we went to the Camp Seymour, and we stayed there for a while. That was about 60 70 miles, I think. And we stayed there for a while. And that was, we used to get to go to Melbourne on weekends, go to Melbourne. And we were there, it's hard to say, hard to remember. Could have been a month, 2 months.
Were you guys just awaiting orders at that point?
Pardon?
Were you guys awaiting orders at that point?
Yeah. Yeah, because at that time the Japanese were coming over the New Guinea, from the New Guinea side. They were coming over on the side that faced Australia. And they were coming to take over the airfield that was there. At that airfield, they could bomb Australia. But we landed, the Army had landed some soldiers, and there weren't too many Aussies, Australian soldiers there, but the Americans and the soldiers together fought the Japs and sent them back over the mountain, you know. That's when we came around the back and landed as they were coming back over the mountain. Well, I was in Boona and Gona. Yeah.
You said the Japanese had already been pushed back at that point?
Yeah, we pushed them back, and then the division fought along the coast and some islands that were on the way. Luann, where's my book?
Which one?
It was over here somewhere.
Is it?
No, the Army book.
This one?
No.
No.
It's got my division insignia in the front.
That one? That one was there.
This is one of our. We get that every month, every
Very good.
3 months.
Oh, okay.
No, here. It's got all the dates.
So where were you guys at this point?
We went from, this
Started
is
in
Melbourne. We went up here somewhere. We had a camp here, and we stayed there for a while because the Japanese were coming over this side of New Guinea. So they put us here as reserve for the other outfits that were up here.
And then they pushed the Japanese back.
Yeah, we put back over New Guinea on this side, and this is we came around over here, and then we went on to
How many battles were you involved with?
let's see. Hmm. Here. Biak, Alandia. Now, that's me. I hear me. That's not talking about the rest of the outfit. That's talking about one troop, which was a troop from Biak, Hollandia, and Zamboanga. Now, the other part of our outfit, some of them were in Holo and Atapi. Some of the other outfits were in these islands here because these are named. And Papua with main battle in New Guinea, and then southern Philippines.
And is that in sequential order of
More or less, more or less. The Philippines were later.
So where did you first experience combat?
Pardon?
Where was your first combat experience?
My first combat experience?
Where did that occur?
I didn't have any combat experience.
Okay.
I was a scout.
Okay.
Scout. You turn around and run.
So you were ahead of the front lines at times.
Well, yeah, we were out to find out where they were and how many, and you got to find out everything. What kind of clothes? What's the clothes or food? You got to find out as much information as you can. Yeah, but this is where we were. Yeah, Papua, which was the New Guinea. One is Australian, and one at that time was Dutch. At the time that if you'll look at that later.
Yeah. So were you working individually as a scout, or did you have a few other men that you would go with?
No, sometimes there's usually three was usually what you took with you. On some, you took 6 other times. Sometimes you took, say, a squad, 12 men. Mostly you stayed in the 6th, and actually 7th, but the medic doesn't fight. Medic, he doesn't even carry a gun. But mostly with me, more or less, I was mostly on 3 to 4 guys.
Can you talk about some of those experiences? Do any of those stick out in your mind above the others?
No, not really. Not really.
So typically, how long would you be away from the rest of your unit for?
Oh, golly, sometimes there was 4 platoons, and sometimes you'd be spread a platoon here. Maybe 60 miles away was another platoon, or maybe 100 miles another platoon. It all depends. But when you're just a soldier, you don't know where the rest of them were. Some of those islands they mentioned, I wasn't on those islands, but the rest of our outfit was here and there because scouts, you know, you don't send scouts all to one platoon. I mean, you send, just like we had, then you have the others. Like at one time we used this scout dog. He comes from the Canine Corps. He comes from the Canine Corps. He's not attached to any unit. He belongs to the Corps. And one time we used pigeons, and that's a different pigeons. They come in a carrying case, and they got pigeons in there. We used pigeons.
And how would you use the pigeons? How would you use the pigeons?
Well, I never did find out about that. And I remember the pigeon handler, because the pigeon handler comes with these, like in the Canine Corps, there's a guy that comes with the dogs. And the pigeons, there's a pigeon handler that comes in there. I saw him scribbling messages, putting them on the thing, and he put some kind of little tube in here and shows him up, and he watches him, you know, to see that he gets away from the coast. And we had those. You had to use our walkie-talkies. They didn't do no good in the jungle. You couldn't even, you just go in the jungle and they were dead. I mean,
they wouldn't operate.
All the vines and trees and all the overgrowth, you know. I mean, so they might as well we never used them, you know. You couldn't even, you know, if you wanted to talk to somebody 15, 20 feet, I mean, he wouldn't hear nothing. He'd probably just a bunch of well.
So Biak, was that on New Guinea, or was that an individual island?
No, those are all separate.
Those are all separate islands?
Yeah.
So do you remember your time there?
Oh, yeah, that was a bad one. Yeah, that was a bad one. That's Coral Island. It's full of caves, and they had a hard time there. Yeah, the infantry had a hard time. They couldn't get to the airfield because there was a lot of caves, and they couldn't go around because there was a swamp. So they did a lot of fighting with it. There at the caves, you know. They dropped. At one time, I think the Navy, tried to fire on the caves because the front, you had the beach was from the street over here to that brick house over there. I mean, the tile house over there, that big one. The beach was that wide. And you were out there in the open. But then there was a cliff. It looked like it had been shaved off, you know. And up there was a lot of holes. And the Japanese were in there. And we lost a lieutenant there. He went up. He was going up to one of the openings, and a sniper got him. We lost first guy there on that island. And, but no, it was,
So were you guys being fired at as you guys were landing on the island?
yeah, we landed on the island, and then our job was to scout. Well, there was nothing for us to scout because there was the beach and then this cliff. So the army over here had cleared out one area. So we went up, I think there was, at that time we had our, no, that was, at that time we had our mechanized equipment with us. And we went up there. But that was before that. Before that, they had, they tried to get down the beach. They wanted to take the airstrip, and they got stopped. They couldn't go, so they sent us up to find a way through a swamp to get in behind them. We got in that swamp, and I don't think we went 100 feet. And the water was kind of a gray color, and it came up to your belt here, and we started down in that to get up, to find a way for the infantry to get by. And all we did was slip and slide, we were down on our knees or it was so slick because these trees had a root that came from about 8 feet high, the root, and it was about that thick at the top, and then as it angled down, it got wider and wider and wider, came down, but it was solid. And we tried to get through, but I think we spent about an hour trying to get through, and you couldn't get anybody through that swamp because it's all gushy. So I think we went further. I know there's, I think there was 6 in our outfit. We went up further and landed at night, and we could crawl or grab the vines and pull ourselves up to the top of this wall that was up there, and we came across the top. And the infantry had found holes up above the roots of trees. There was holes all over. You'd put your foot down, you'd step, and you'd knock a rock down, and then pretty soon you'd hear it hit the ground down there about 100 feet or more. You know? So you had to watch where you walked because it was covered with roots and vines and things like that. But we finally got by. No. When we got to the Philippines, and it was different. And we could drive. We could drive our cars.
Now, when you were out scouting, what equipment would you have with you?
When we were,
When you were out scouting ahead?
oh, it all depends on what kind of patrol you were. If you were coming back that same day, you carried just enough for lunch or something like that. If you're going to go longer, then you'd take out whatever you wanted, because food just come in a package like a Cracker Jack box, you know. And there was a little package of coffee, a little package of salt, sugar, or hardtack or biscuit or whatever it is, and a little can of meat, little can of meat, and some other stuff that came in there. I know we used to tear the box apart and take out what we wanted. You know, you got to carry ammunition and other stuff so we get all that stuff out.
So how long were you on BIAC for?
I can't remember. We were there quite a while. Yeah.
Did you encounter any Japanese at all, or?
No, we went on patrol. We had a patrol that I was on. Yeah, that was on BIAC. Now, one thing that helped us, the Navy, they had sunk all their aircraft carriers, their battleships. They had bombed all their supply boats and their submarines and all that. And that helped a lot because a lot of the Japanese, some of them were starving. So we didn't, where we were, we didn't have too much opposition, you know. Or there was some Japanese, but they had moved away from the coast. And there was one guy they captured, and he had, in his pocket, he had his pocket full of snails, you know, that they would get because there was nothing for them to eat, because they weren't getting any supplies, and they were having to, and quite a few of them starved. We found one camp that had about 4 or 5 soldiers, and they had their rifles behind with them, but they had starved to death.
They'd already died by the time you had discovered
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Now, when you were out patrolling, you would never engage with the enemy. You would find their position and then report back to the rest of the
we were
unit.
just.
And did it make you nervous at all, leaving the rest of your unit to kind of go out ahead and explore the unknown?
No, you just start to thinking in your head to look and listen. You concentrate on that. And then you got your other. I usually had one guy in front, and then behind him was a guy with a BAR, and then the guy behind him, I think it was 6 of us. 6 of us on a patrol. And sometimes you took a medic with you.
Now, were you guys ever discovered by the enemy while you were out patrolling at all?
No, one of our other patrols had a guy, I think 2 of our other platoons, each one had a guy hurt. Yeah, they had a guy hurt. We had one guy, we were way out. And we were on guard on this hill. We were on guard on this hill, and the top had been shaved off. And I had a .50 caliber machine gun with it was strapped to the tree trunk. The tree trunk had been chopped off about this high, and the Australians that had been there had built a pit around it, and the middle was like a table, solid, and in the middle was a stump, and they could walk around with their gun. So it came in handy when we came in, because we had a special harness to strap a gun to a tree, and we got three Japanese bombers came by, and this was away from the beach, and the Japanese used to use it as a marker to fly along the coast. You could see them way up high. They'd come to where they could see this thing out there in the mountains, bare, and then the Americans would come flying down the coast, and they'd see it, and that was their takeoff place to go bomb them. We were more like an aiming stake there. And that time we had these 3 bombers come by. That's when we had one guy that was, I don't know how bad he was hurt, but he was down below. And we used to have our tents down below this cliff, which is big around, and like I say, it was cut off at the top. It was down about 100 feet. And we had our tent down there where we'd go and sleep. And each guy would take a turn at night to stay up above. And they come in, I think it was in the afternoon, 3 Japanese bombers. And they sounded the 3 shots, I think it was, to alert,
Were they bombing the area, or they were?
They just came. They were on their way to bomb the airstrip, but they came by, and they knew that there was somebody stationed there because they'd been by before. They knew that there was somebody there, and they come over and dropped 3 bombs, I think. And, no, wait a minute. I think they dropped only 2 bombs. And one guy from up there was firing at us, and we were firing at them. And then they dropped a couple, I can't remember, they didn't drop too many bombs, maybe 2 or 3. And this guy down there, he says, never mind, they're just going to fly over, and he stayed in his bunk there, and he's caught in some way or another. A bomb hit close to him, and I think it ruptured his eardrums because he couldn't hear. So. But they didn't stay to bomb us. They kept on going down the coast, and they dropped their bombs further down where the airstrip was. And but later on, I saw from where I was up on the hill there, I could see this flying boat come in and beach itself there, right there, where our tents were. And I guess this guy must have got something else wrong with him, because I saw him take him out on a stretcher. And then they took him and board the flying boat, and it took off.
Now, is this all still on BIAC?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. No.
So can we talk a little bit about your time spent on Hollandia?
Hollandia,
Yeah.
yeah. We
Is
were
that another island?
no, it's Hollandia's on what the heck is
New
that?
Guinea?
Someplace in there, yeah. Somewhere in there.
Yeah, it looks like it's on New Guinea on this
Yeah.
map.
No, that was at that time it was well. The Japanese had it well set up, but the Air Force come in and bombed the whole town. The only thing that was left was the bank. But the whole, all of Hollandia there was just flat. We came over the mountain into Hollandia, and that was our job. Reconnoiter and scout. Well, it was clean. Everything was, it was debris all over, but it was all there. The only thing that was standing was the bank building, and later on, one of the other outfits, I guess, I don't know if it was a week, 2 weeks, or something like that. They landed an outfit there in Hollandia, and they had a kind of a little battle fighting the Japs because the Japanese had gone up to the hills on that side of the mountain. Well, we came over this side. It's a good thing that they were over there on that side, because I forgot, we lost some men there in that battle there. That was a Japanese last stand there.
Did you lose any friends?
Huh?
Did you lose any friends?
Not that I know of. Not in our outfit. Just that one fellow that got his eardrums shattered, or whatever happened, I don't remember. And I know some of the other platoons lost. Some of them had to go to the medics. They were injured. One guy, I think, had his knee. I think he got his knee hurt pretty bad.
And was that also jungle, the terrain?
That was in Hollandia. That was let's see, where did... No, I don't remember. The guy that got shot in the knee was in a different platoon, but I don't know. I think that was in Biak, where he got shot in the knee, or so I don't know if he got shot or shrapnel. Yeah, I think that was it. No, it was...
Do you remember how much time you spent in Hollandia?
Not very long. Our job was just to scout it out and get out. Yeah, just that one day, I think it was, all it was.
Were there any patrols that you'd be gone for multiple days at a time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sometimes 3-day patrols, something like that. Oh, that's the longest I was on, a 3-day patrol.
And how would you navigate while you were out patrolling?
You had to use a compass all the time. Yeah, you had to use a compass. They had, there was some maps, but they were made 30, 40 years ago, you know, and all those, and they weren't roads, they were trails, and all those trails, the vines and that had grown over it, you know.
So you couldn't rely on the maps very well.
No, you had to whack your way, you know. You'd find a space where it showed like there used to be a.
So where would you sleep on if you're out for a multi-day patrol? Where would you sleep at night?
Wherever you found a spot, you know. No, I don't think I was gone too many nights that I had to sleep out. Yeah.
And was there one person in charge of navigating, or would it be a group effort?
No, I left it up to the sergeant. He was the one with the map and the compass. Not everybody has a compass. Not everybody had a map. I mean, the maps were obsolete, and no, we had a good sergeant. Yeah.
And after you completed a patrol, and you'd return back and give the necessary information.
Yeah.
What would you be doing after that between the
Well, we
sites?
used to just come back, and with me and the rest of the guys, we just take it easy. The sergeant was the one that had to go and report and have an interview with the captain, and you know, do everything. Now we just went back and laid on our bunks, and but even then, you know, there was always something you had to do. They don't let you just lay on your bunk when you're not doing anything.
So you didn't have much downtime.
No. Now they used to pay us in guilders and Australian money.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when we were over there, we were getting paid in Australian money. Then we started getting paid guilders from, I guess, the Dutch government was paying to clean them up, you know. And
So how about when you went to Zamboanga?
Zamboanga, yeah, that was more, you might say, enjoyable. We got to ride. We could use our cars, our Jeeps. You know. No, we had to keep all our cars clean all the time, and that. Every time you went somewhere, after a few days, if they saw the battle was going good, they'd bring in all your extra equipment, you know, and they'd bring the cars in, and I think I got some pictures of. Just sit down. I can make it.
Oh, I just want to pull this off so you don't get.
Oh. That's me.
Yeah, handsome fella.
Yeah, she interviewed me. Congresswoman Sanchez.
Okay.
That's me. She got all my ribbons. She got all my ribbons and all my medals. I tried for 70 years to get them, and they wouldn't even answer.
Really?
And I talked to her one day.
She helped you get them all?
It didn't take long. Didn't take long. That's some of our. This is the cook out to sea. He was the head cook. He was making porridge for us because a lot of stuff came, you couldn't, and he went out and he was going to put a little salt, so we went out with his helmet and he got a little salt water. When he gave us a porridge, you couldn't hardly eat it. It was so salty. Yeah. Oh, this is one of the 41st Division meetings. George. Yeah.
You guys still get together?
Huh?
You guys still get together?
No, he passed away about 10 years ago. That was one of the meetings we had in Las Vegas. She's been in one of my, this is one of our camps. We had Doug Newton. He was an artist, and he made the sign. Now I'll put them over here. Okay. That's all right. Oh, that's Japanese money. They were going to use in the Philippines.
How'd you come across this?
We bumped into a bank in Hollandia that was bombed, and then we found an headquarters office in the back. back off away from the beach, and it had a lot of the
It's all just paper nowadays, huh?
yeah. Yeah, these are some of our boys here.
Now, did you bring any souvenirs back with you?
No,
No.
no, I didn't.
That's
I don't. I don't even remember what this was. Or this. Now there's some more of the guys. That's that same picture that you saw, the cook.
Oh yeah.
And this is one of our boys here.
Did you know him?
Yeah, yeah, he was in our outfit. Yeah, this the guy wrote this. You never, I never think of the malaria or the different things that we had. Yeah, I was way out on the outpost when I got malaria. I just about died up there.
When did you contract malaria?
When I was overseas, as can't remember where I was. I think I was in BIAC.
In BIAC, you said?
Yeah.
How long were you sick for?
Oh, I don't remember. I mean, I went out of my head.
Do you get it from drinking the water or from
No,
the bugs?
mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes. You said you almost died?
Oh yeah. It's like they just rolled me over into the slit trench. Put a canvas tarp over me.
Really? You just laid there for days?
Yeah. Yeah, we were on an outpost.
How did you get better?
Just worked it out, I guess.
Yeah. Is there any other animals that you had to be careful of? Any snakes or?
Oh yeah, you had to be careful of them. So, oh, this one guy, friend of mine, he put me up and they got a statue, not a statue, a plaque somewhere. He put my picture and my name. Yeah, I can't remember.
Now the Bronze Star that you earned, was that for any specific event or was it for the culmination of your service?
He wrote it for more than one. He was a pretty good. Now we used to change from armored cars to some things like that.
These are tanks?
Yeah, it's got a 85 millimeter, I think it's 85 millimeter howitzer, and it's got a machine gun up 50 caliber and then a 30 caliber.
You'd go out and patrol in these sometimes?
Yeah, landings mostly.
Mostly landings. Now, during any of the landings, were you guys being attacked during that time, or?
Well, it all depends on usually the Japanese wouldn't be on the beach.
They wouldn't be on the beach. They'd be
No,
more
they'd,
inland.
yeah.
Now, did you find that they'd be hiding in caves or underground?
Yeah, it all depends on the terrain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it all depends on the terrain. Yeah. Yeah, this is what the well-dressed soldier in uniform.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Did you ever get homesick being gone for so long?
I never thought about it. Hmm. Did I have? I have one of these over there.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Get rid of some of this stuff. Yeah, this is. I wasn't in this. This is one of my buddies. This was before the war. He was already in the National Guard. In fact, some of the guys in my outfit were in the National Guard.
Okay.
I wasn't. This is a Japanese diary. You can read a little bit
This
of
is all translated?
what he was doing.
Is he a Japanese American, or was this
Jap-
translated?
No, this is a Japanese guy that we were fighting. They all carried diaries, Japanese.
Is this a diary that you had found, or how did you come across this?
I found it on the Japanese where they had buried some stuff. That's my discharge. Camp Roberts. My high school letters.
Is that for softball?
For everything except basketball.
Okay.
I got 3 letters here, 4, 5, 6, and then these are city ribbons. Yeah, I used to. This is my platoon, and that's me next to the lieutenant there. And that's my car, my
This is what you're driving around in?
yeah, a 37 millimeter gun, and usually there's a 50 caliber strapped around the turret up above, and then there's a machine gun right here in the front for the radio operator, which is down below.
Were you the one driving?
No, I was up in the turret. The driver's down below me. He was, and then the radio operator was opposite of him. But he had the radio operator had a gun that he could operate from where he was.
Did you ever have to use that machine gun?
Huh?
Did you ever have to use that machine gun?
Yeah, one time in the Philippines.
What happened then?
Nothing, we just drove on. I don't know what this is. No, there's probably some things that came in the No, this, we used to get a magazine that was called Yank. We used to get it now. And they, every now and then,
You'd get it while you were overseas?
yeah, here's one. Of course, this was in red, different colors. But it had some, yeah, I know I was on this island because that guy's one of ours in our outfit. He was up on the tractor and somebody took a picture of him. This Yank magazine that covered it didn't have much. It covered the war even in Europe. Yanks in Italy.
So you were able to follow along what was going on over in Europe?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, it gives little notes on what's happening.
Where were you when the war had ended?
When the war ended.
Yeah, when they had dropped the bombs.
Oh, I was home. I was out of it. I was out of it. I was in I think I was in I can't remember where I was.
You remember where your last campaign was in the Pacific?
Oh, that was in the Philippines. Yeah, that was in the Philippines. Yeah.
Why had you been sent home early?
Huh?
Why had you been sent home before the war had ended?
Well, they figured the war was I think what they really wanted to do is they knew that the war was just about over, but they wanted to train the new soldiers that had come in and train. I think they wanted to train them, there in Japan, which hadn't surrendered yet.
Yeah.
But when they were on their way, they surrendered. But I think they wanted to give them a little war experience, so they sent all the new guys over there.
You had already paid your dues, so.
Yeah, so we'd already learned ours.
And what is this?
That's an old it's a three-bladed. That's the Army. Right there.
Was this yours?
No, that was for World War One.
Okay. Oh yeah, 1917.
Yeah. I think they outlawed them because of the 3 blades. Watch yourself. Yeah, this leather's kind of wore out.
You mind if we keep this out for a minute? Maybe we'll use it for the pictures?
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you go ahead and do.
Okay.
Are you there, honey?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to take a look at this? Oh, no, this isn't the one. Wait a minute.
Were you looking for something?
I thought I had something I wanted to show you.
Looking for?
No.
What were you looking for?
Oh, picture. Oh. Oh,
Is that it, Logan?
that's me.
That's you.
Yeah. That's Lillian. That's my dad and that's my mother. I got some other pictures when
Yeah.
her and her relative, her neighbor, dressed in their finest, you know, the big hats that they used to wear. And me and I was in the baby carriage. But I don't know what happened. It's somewhere. Yeah, that's. Yeah, just drop it in there. Ah.
So I'd just like to ask you one or two last questions, and then we'll be done with the interview. Okay? If you have any advice that you could offer to my generation or future generations, what would you say?
Well, just try to enjoy life without problems. You know, just a normal, everyday life. Find something you like to do and work on that. It's a bit, you like gardening, you like machinery, you like whatever it is you like, you know, just keep after it. The kids nowadays, if you go into college, take 3 different courses because you don't know when that one is going to disappear. And when that one's going to disappear, You know, the way things are now, all these kids that went to college to be certain things, they're done by machines, you know. And every day there's something new coming up that you just about have to take 3 new things to be sure one of them isn't going to fade out.
You're right about that.
Yeah. No. No, you go ahead and do the best and try to enjoy yourself. Be happy.
And then lastly, how would you like to be remembered? How would you like your legacy to be carried on?
Just a normal life, you know. Try to stay out of trouble. Yeah.
Great.
No.
Well, thank you very much for meeting with me,
Oh, that's all right. I'm glad to.
speaking with me.
Yeah.